It was a freezing morning in Brooklyn, one of those bitter days where even the sun seemed too tired to rise fully. The sky wore a dull gray coat, and the streets felt abandoned by warmth. Amid this cold, stood a girl named Eliza, no older than 16, on the corner just outside a local deli. Her coat was too thin, her gloves mismatched and frayed, and her boots had holes that let in more snow than they kept out. Yet there she was, still standing, still smiling faintly, as if life hadn't already been too cruel. Eliza's eyes told a story most people never cared to ask about. 2 years ago, she had lost her mother to illness, and her father shortly after to a construction accident. Alone and forgotten by relatives who deemed her a burden, she had found refuge in a crumbling shelter that smelled of mildew and broken dreams. But what made Eliza extraordinary wasn't just her resilience. It was her unwavering belief that kindness still mattered, even when the world seemed to have none left to give. Every morning, Eliza followed the same routine with gentle determination. She scraped together her meager savings from part-time shifts at the deli to buy a modest meal, a bagel, a banana, and a carton of milk. It wasn't much, but it was hers. She would then make her way to Prospect Park and sit on the same bench near the playground, where she found fleeting moments of peace watching children play. On one particularly icy morning, Eliza noticed something unusual, a little girl in a bright designer coat, standing alone near the bench, her tiny frame shaking with cold and fear. The child's mittens dangled from her wrists like forgotten toys, and tears streamed down her flushed cheeks. It was a scene no one else seemed to notice. But Eliza did. She approached slowly, her voice soft and maternal beyond her years. "Hey there, are you okay? Are you lost?" The little girl turned to her, eyes wide with fear and innocence. "My nanny left me," she whimpered. "She said she'd be right back, but she didn't come back. I'm hungry." The ache in Eliza's heart swelled. She didn't have much, but what she had, she gave without hesitation. She knelt, opened her paper bag, and handed the warm bagel to the girl. "Here, sweetie. Eat this. It's fresh. I'll stay with you until someone comes." That moment wasn't just an act of charity, it was a pure reflection of who Eliza was. Despite having nothing, she offered everything. The girl, whose name was Ava, took the bagel with trembling hands. As she ate, Eliza took off her scarf and gently wrapped it around Ava's neck. Hours passed. The nanny never returned. Eliza stayed, her own stomach growling, refusing to abandon the child. Eventually, a kind stranger let Eliza use their phone to call the police. When officers arrived, they were astonished by the story. They took Ava and requested Eliza accompany them to provide details. At the police station, under the flickering fluorescent lights, Eliza kept Ava calm with stories and even made origami from napkins she carried in her coat pocket. It was there, in that sterile room, that the door burst open and in came a man whose presence shifted the entire air, Jonathan Hayward, a powerful CEO known more for boardrooms than police stations. He was pale, frantic, his eyes scanning until they landed on Ava. The girl ran to him instantly. "Daddy! That girl helped me. She gave me food and stayed with me." Jonathan's heart thundered as he followed her pointing finger, to Eliza, a girl dressed in patched-up clothes, her hands red from cold, her eyes tired yet gentle. He approached cautiously. "You stayed with her this whole time? Gave her your food?" Eliza nodded. "She didn't seek praise. She needed someone. That's all." That simple sentence, so profoundly human, knocked the wind out of Jonathan. He was a man surrounded by opulence, yet in front of him stood someone who had shown more wealth of spirit than he'd seen in a lifetime. "What's your name?" he asked. "Eliza." He extended his hand. "Jonathan Hayward. I owe you more than I can ever repay." Eliza smiled weakly. "Just make sure Ava gets home safe." That night, Jonathan lay in his penthouse bed, unable to sleep. His mind kept replaying Eliza's voice, her eyes, her sacrifice. A girl with nothing had protected the most precious thing in his life, without expectation, without reward. By morning, he had made a decision. He sent his best team to find Eliza. It wasn't easy, she had no phone, no online records, just a first name and a fading address. But he found her. He arrived at the shelter himself. Eliza looked startled to see him. "Is Ava okay?" she asked first. "She's perfect," he said. "Because of you. I came to change your life." Eliza blinked. "You don't need to." "No," he said firmly. "I want to. Because the world failed you, and you still chose to be kind. That's what the world needs more of." He gave her more than just money. He gave her a future. A full scholarship to one of the top schools. Warm clothes. A secure place to live. Counseling. Opportunities. And perhaps most importantly, dignity. Eliza cried for the first time in years. Not from pain. But from finally being seen. From being valued. Years passed. Eliza didn't waste a single moment. She studied with fierce determination. At her high school graduation, she stood as valedictorian. Her speech silenced the auditorium. "I once shared a meal with a stranger in the cold," she began. "I didn't know that moment would change my life. But I've learned something since: kindness doesn't cost a thing, but it buys hope." In the front row, Jonathan wiped tears from his eyes. Ava, now older, clapped enthusiastically in a dress identical to Eliza's. After the ceremony, Jonathan hugged her tightly. "You've changed my life more than I've changed yours." Eliza smiled. "Funny. I was going to say the same thing." Today, Eliza runs a nonprofit for homeless youth, naming it The Bench, in honor of the cold park seat where she shared a bagel and changed 2 lives forever. She visits schools, shelters, and cities around the world, spreading the story of how one act of compassion can ripple into something far bigger. Because real wealth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in heart. And Eliza's heart? It made the world richer.